where do you predict Shedeur and Travis going in the draft?
Top 4.
That's pretty beautiful.
Anywhere from 1 through 4. One of them is going to be 1.
That's what I'm talking about.
One of them is going to be
Speaking
1.
into existence.
And the latter one would not go behind 4. Now, all this is subjective because I know where I kind of want them to go. And let's not forget Shallow, okay? But I know where I want them to go. So there's certain cities that ain't gonna happen. It's gonna be a Peyton Manning. It's gonna be it's gonna be an Eli. See, it was certain cities that fit.
Yeah.
Atlanta fit.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for my kids. All of them. I want the right fit.
What is it about Atlanta?
First of all, it's the ethnicity. Because that's the first time I ever saw black people in positions of authority.
Deion Sanders claiming authority over the establishment. I'm gonna cost so much they're gonna have to put me on layaway. Okay? We will never. That will never get old. That will never ever get old. This man has been here before. This ain't his first rodeo. It's not the first time, as he kind of calls his shot or fires a warning shot across the bow of the NFL and the draft infrastructure that my kids aren't about to go with the program. But it's not the first time. For you youngins out there, John Elway didn't want to be drafted by the Baltimore Colts. That's how he ended up with the Broncos. Bo Jackson didn't want to be drafted by the Bucks. That's how he played baseball and then ended up with the Raiders. And as Deion mentioned, Eli Manning wasn't going to go to the Chargers. And he ended up getting traded to the Giants. So Deion is saying it's Shedeur Sanders. First he said he didn't want Shedeur playing in the cold, but now he's saying Shedeur and Travis Hunter, that certain teams they just won't go to. And I just want to say, Michael, I think it's possible, just as we are fond of saying that more than one thing can be true, I think it's possible for me to be the biggest draft nerd on the planet, so much so that while many others may say that this time of year, March Madness, the NCAA tournament, is the greatest sporting event in Americana, I believe that the NFL draft is the best sporting event on the sports calendar. And frankly, I think its growth over the last few years has supported that. The fact that it's now a traveling circus, the fact that the television coverage that it gets, I think it supported that thesis. Because it's the only event where everybody wins. Hope springs eternal. Everybody can participate. Everybody can participate. It's the most inclusive event that any league has. We have high hopes, but I can be the biggest fan of the draft and be obsessed with the draft and obsessed with the team building process, obsessed with all the dealings and the trades and the scouting reports and the rumors and the innuendo and everything, and still very much be here for chaos. Introduce a little anarchy. Upset the established order. And what you have is chaos. And I'm an agent of chaos. I am so for the drama. All this does is contribute, frankly, to the hype machine around the draft, is players, the modern player, the modern NIL player, taking agency. Whereas it used to be the agents, now they're taking agency over where they go. Because, Michael, again, I love the draft. I love the process. But the principle is never something that I've been comfortable with. Because, and we've been talking about this a lot, especially with reflecting on the 2021 quarterback class. How many times have you heard me qualify a player's reputation or legacy by describing the circumstances in which they were drafted into through no choice or fault of their own?
Right.
So I love the players who not only have the power, but know they have the power and are willing to wield that power to say, yeah, I'm not going to your dysfunctional organization and letting you ruin my career right out of the gate. You're not going to Justin Fields me.
Okay.
No, hell no. Because we already have a rookie wage scale. We already coming in on fixed income. Now you're telling me where I gotta live and work? If they have the power to do it, if they're not one of these kids, and most of the kids are like, hey, I just want to live the dream. I just want to be. I never imagined making this much money. I never imagined playing a kid's game. Most of them are sincere when they say, I don't care where I go. I just want to play in the league on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays or Saturdays, as the case may be. But for kids like Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter, backed by a guy like Deion Sanders, oh yeah, they could pull it off. And I don't think the NFL is going to be in a listen, provided that both these dudes can actually ball, that they could actually play, okay? Which I believe they can at the next level. I believe they can. So assuming that they're as good as we think they are, I believe that the NFL and teams that are interested are going to be far more likely to acquiesce to their demands than they are going to be to what they might have done once upon a time, which is try to make an example out of them. Because you and I talked about it. Even though Caleb Williams hasn't pulled this card, and look at Chicago, maybe because Chicago is getting their shit together and making sure that Caleb Williams likes the situation that he's going into. But Caleb Williams could have pulled this card. He did not. But he did thumb his nose at the establishment, and he wasn't the only one. The LSU kids didn't get measured at the combine. Marvin Harrison Jr., whether it's participation at the combine or whether it's medical information. We had a long conversation about that the other day. Listen, these new dudes don't roll like that. They're not just happy to be here. And given what Deion Sanders has not only done for Colorado, but done for, his kids, as he calls them, both biologically and adopted, as the case may be, I would not be surprised if they were actually able to bend the NFL and the draft establishment to his and their will more than they would have to fall in line come the 2025 draft.
My tiny nitpick.
Point of order.
Tiny.
Go ahead and allow me to retort. Go ahead and retort.
Yeah, before I get to the big one, the bigger one. Deion, if you're going to have the first pick in the draft and the fourth pick in the draft, you're going to have to win some more games than you did this year. You're going to have to hold on to a 29 point halftime lead.
In other words, first thing is first. No, I got you.
Right.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
You're going to have to win some more games.
Then you can exact some grand plan.
You're talking all this, right now.
I got you.
Y'all didn't make a bowl. They didn't make a bowl this year. And so
that's a good catch.
It was the
That's
hype.
A good catch by you.
Yeah, right. The hype for Colorado didn't really match the performance of Colorado down the stretch. They were our team. We were watching that team in September. They were a hot thing in September. And then it started getting cold, and so did they. They just kind of disappeared. So we'll see. We'll see if you have the first pick in the draft and the fourth pick in the draft. If you do, I'd like to see you make a bowl. But the other thing is, Mike, you said you're an agent of chaos. Good. Me too. I love the draft as much as you do. We talk about it all the time. It's one of the things one of our shared passions, the draft and team building and all that good stuff. But you said I like a kid who thinks that way, or a kid who brings it about. Not necessarily their parents. Like Shedeur Sanders is 22 years old, man. Does he feel this way? I would like him to state his own case. I don't want to hear Deion saying, I want what's best for my kids. On one hand, as a parent, I applaud it. As a father, I applaud the investment and the interest and the advice. But this is a grown man now. And if he's going to be the first pick in the draft, let him go his own way. Maybe you don't think it. Maybe you think Atlanta.
But don't you think they've had that conversation? Well, are you speaking from Shedeur's standpoint, or are you speaking from a team evaluating standpoint? Because Deion will be part of the picture. Well, real quick, not only is Deion going to be part of the picture, and it's similar to what we talked about with Caleb Williams. He's going to be part of the picture, but if you're a savvy owner, you're kind of drafting Shedeur because of the Deion of it all, to some extent. Not you drafted the player first. You drafted the player first. But there's a side benefit to the Deion of it all. You talked about the hype. Like, you want the Deion, bonus coming with Shedeur and Travis
But
Hunter. Do
this
you
is-
not? If I would.
Kind of. But I'm just thinking about the young man. Okay, there are benefits to being.
That was very
Deion
paternalistic
Sanders
of you.
Yeah, the young
young
man. The man. But there's some benefits to having that last name.
For sure.
Deion Sanders. Hey, Brendan Rice is going to be in the draft. Jerry Rice's son, Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay, Bronny James. There are benefits to having a famous parent. And there are things that are afforded to you that may not be afforded to other people. But then when you want to make your mark as an individual, it's hard to get out of that shadow that it's at times, I'm sure it's overbearing. Can you imagine Deion Sanders, who made all of that, who made those great comments before being drafted by the Atlanta Falcons, and then going to the Georgia Dome and saying, I built this house, and all the things that Deion did with Atlanta. And now Shedeur, you want him to play for the Falcons, the same team that you played for, because it's a place where you saw black excellence for the first time, or in authority.
I think it'd be a great story.
I don't know, man. Like,
I think it'd be a great story.
I don't know. I don't like it.
And
I don't like it.
I think it'd be a great
Shedeur,
story. I think the kid's built
that,
for it. I'm going to assume they've had this conversation.
How many people are built for that? How many people?
I'm going to assume that. I mean, how many Hall of Fame players have a kid that could possibly be a top 5 pick? Look, Archie Manning maybe didn't say it as colorfully as Deion does, but Archie Manning very much spoke for Eli Manning. You know, like Oliver Luck spoke for Andrew Luck. Jack Elway spoke for John Elway. You know, like plenty of parents have been out front and taken the heat off of their kid in some respect.
They have, but also, you know what? I gotta say, you know, if I look at the big picture in retrospect, John Elway going to the Colts, would that have worked out for John Elway the same way it did with the Broncos? Probably. Denver, Indianapolis.
Well, you know what gets forgotten is how much he struggled early in his Broncos career. Early in his Broncos career, he was not good, and it was he had some rocky times early on. Yeah.
And you know, and Eli, it took him 4 years? 4 years after being drafted by the Giants to win a championship, and he's a legend there with 2 championships and surrounded by some mediocrity, quite frankly. Could he have done that somewhere else? Probably. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like I like parental involvement, but I think the point that we're all trying to get to is to turn our sons and daughters into decision makers who value wise counsel. But I don't want you speaking for me when I'm 22 years old. Sorry, I wouldn't want it. But I don't know. Maybe they want it.
And I hope he's authorized to say that. I think whether it would have worked out or not in those other cases, respectfully, I think is beside the point. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, right.
But it's interesting. This is an interesting conversation because I talked to you last week about the college process, the application, admittance, acceptance, deferment, wait list, the whole process I'm going through with my oldest. It's so funny because Sarah is of the school of thought where it's like, we paying for this, so this is where you're going.
That's
full stop. Ain't no conversation. But hold on. I'm getting the way you. But I'm right. But I'm getting where you. But I'm getting where you're going though.
At 17, 18, I think so.
No, but I'm more of the. See, I'm more progressive, aka soft. I'm more of the.
There we go. I was gonna say, don't call that progressive.
I'm more of the. I want her to buy in. And I want us to be on the same page. I want this to be a collective decision. You know what I mean? I want her to see it the same way and think the same way. Because I want her to be happy. And that's the thing. But we have a connected conversation around these discussions in our household about, frankly, how spoiled my children are. And I've never made apologies for that. I've never made apologies for that. Because what do we do it for? What do you do it for, Michael? What have I been doing it for? But to give our children the opportunities that maybe we didn't have, or give them those opportunities and more, right? Like we work, Now there's a balance. You don't want to spoil your children to the point where they have a warped view of reality and they don't have proper perspective, or their worldview is jacked up, right? Or they don't appreciate it.
That beautiful thing called gratitude.
Or gratitude or work ethic. Or work ethic.
Humility and work ethic, right.
Right. But like the goal is to give them better. So if I'm Deion Sanders, everything I went through and everything I learned, everything I did, all the mistakes I may have made, all of it, in my mind, if I'm Deion Sanders, was for you, Shedeur Sanders, was for you, Travis Hunter. It's like, I'm speaking for you because Daddy knows best. Father knows best. That was a pretty good TV show back in the day. Father knows best. It's like, and in this instance, let me be the one going on $1 million worth of game saying this. You ain't got to say it. You ain't got to say it. I'll say it for you. Because I can take it. I can take it. Let me do it. I got you on this. We'll talk behind closed doors, but trust me, son. I've talked to people. I know people. I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. I know what it takes to succeed in this league. I know what it looks like in this league. I know how to win at the highest levels. And there's no pressure on you, son, if you go to Atlanta. There's no pressure on you. There'd be pressure on you if you play cornerback and you wore number 21 in Atlanta. But you play quarterback. You're a different kid. You're your own kid. And you've been dealing with the pressure of being my son your whole life. This ain't new to you. You ain't new to this. You true to this. He'd probably say something like that. That's what Deion would probably say. You know, so it's
he would say that.
If you're Deion, your whole goal is to use the power, the influence, the notoriety that you have built to make a better path for your son. That's one of the benefits you're talking about.
To a degree.
I don't think it robs him of his own adult agency or adult or decision-making process.
Sure, it could.
First of all, you're also operating from a place that they don't agree on this. You're operating from a place of.
And I don't know. That's why I said I would like to hear it from him. I don't want him to. I don't want your protection anymore.
Don't you tell your children you got plenty of time to be an adult? I know I do. You got plenty of time to pay your own bills.
But he is an adult.
He's 22. Or whatever he is. I'm sure he will speak for himself in due time. He will not. Deion will not be up there. At least I don't think he will. Will not be up there at the post-game podium.
He's a 23-year-old quarterback. He'll be 23
He will not.
years
But
old,
Deion won't be up. Deion will not be up there answering questions after Shedeur Sanders throws 4 interceptions. I assume he will not be the one at the press conference. Yeah. In the meantime, it's okay. It's perfectly okay for a father to help his son navigate this process. Especially that father.
It's okay to navigate. We're not talking about navigating. Yeah, what you described is not a navigation. What you described is, it's navigation, and I'm at the helm, and you just sit by here as my co-pilot as I get you to the right place, and then I'll let you take over. That's not he's not navigating. He's directing. He's steering. Okay. He's putting his son in a certain destination based on his experience. And you know what? and I think we've had this conversation before. There's a balance of your experience, giving them the insight from your experiences, but not so much that you're putting your own crap
into the heads. 100%.
Of your children.
100%. Yes.
So
yes, that's true.
Hey, what Deion experienced with Atlanta and what he saw with Atlanta is probably different than what Shedeur will experience with Atlanta or Chicago or Cleveland or Cincinnati or any other city in this country. He's of a different generation. And because of the privileges that he's had, he has seen more earlier and has seen more of an eclectic view of the country than his father did because of his father's resources. So, I don't know. I think I'd just like to hear it. I'd like to hear it from him. And and I don't know if he's going to be the number one pick anyway. Number one.
I don't mind it.
That's lofty. It's so funny. It's so presumptuous. Oh, he's going to be number one. And evaluators are sitting there and be like, okay, do I not take this guy? Do I not take this guy in the 3rd round?
Right. There's a
third round
that's presumptuous is definitely the operative word.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.